house was built in 1964 by my grandfather Hector Alonso Rebaque, and the house was made in collaboration with Felix Candela. Felix Candela designed the whole hyperbolic structure where the living spaces sit down in the house. And then it has attached rectangular structure where you have the bedrooms, the kitchen, and the dining room. So it was funny for me to see how my grandfather collaborated with this major architect to create this house. It was my grandmother's house. So in a way, each time I go through the house, I see her appearing upon me in different spaces. It has an emotional relationship to me. But at the same time, the form and language of the house and the structure of the house reminds me to a really important period of architecture within 1960, 1965. With organic shapes and different structures that show me how the world was trying to overcome an international style of architecture.
The idea of trying to overcome the international style comes because it had in a way this colonial vibe embedded in it, and it was mainly because all of the structures were the same and from these very specific materials, which were kind of steel, metal, glass structures, all black, white, but all the same, very box-like, rectangular, this idea of repetition. So for me, it's interesting to think about living in a house that becomes a monument. Like, your house is never gonna be destroyed. It has become part of the architecture in this part of Mexico City, and it will prevail throughout the years. Thinking about these other houses that you now can visit and pay to make a visit, and it is explained the way that people used to live there. Like, do you think your house might get to this point, or is it interesting for you to think about this in terms of your own house or your own home?
Yes, I totally appreciate this notion of my house becoming an experience for the public, like dissolving within a culture of architecture. Why is the house being used like that, right? Or how was the house being experienced during the 21st century, and how it changed during the 21st century, right? Like, those types of notions and justifications should be something we should share.
The thing about this house is that it wasn't preserved as its original state. It has been changing, right? First, my uncles live here with my grandmother and my grandfather, but then when they got married, they moved out of the house, and both of my grandparents decided to rearrange the spaces in the house, and that shift the original structure of the house. So that's kind of funny, because you hear stories about this was this and this place was like that, and specifically you understand the house has been changing. Now that I'm here, I'm just wondering what would be the next stage of design that this house is gonna be enjoying. No, no, gracias.
There's something about your house having this duality between the lived and the the history.
Pero ¿qué es la historia? La historia es lo vivido.
No, porque la historia, the history in terms of context, like what is the context of the house, the architect, the way it was built, that's what I mean by history, not the history created. I know at the end, both are history, but...
It is impressive that a house that was meant to be just a house became a monument just because my grandfather knew this Spanish architect that became famous because he did hyperbolic structures, something that not everybody was doing at that period, especially without computers and detailed renderings and blueprints. I guess it's just amazing to think about the past as a way to as a past that defines my future or the future of architecture.
Home is that place where you feel at peace. Home is that place where you can let your thoughts go away, where you feel safe, right? You want to enjoy yourself. You want to know who you are. You want to take your time having a shower, having breakfast. Everything needs to be, I don't know, personal in a way. I guess in a way I'm just nostalgic about this place. It saves a lot of memories.
Me encanta compartir el sueño de querer vivir en esta casa, habitarla juntos y crear nuestras propias memorias dentro de ella.